Hello guys, once again welcome back to my channel JOV'S Online TV, and in this series, in Let Review series, we are down with second to the last series, and I mentioned in my previous channel, in my previous video, that we're going to finish 120 questions that had been given on the previous board exam of lead. So I hope you will continue watching my videos until part 12 of this series. So let's move on. Let's begin with the multiple choice questions. We are now in questions 101 to 110 of this part 11. Oops. Right, so part 11 will start in questions number 101. And the question is about probability. And it says that the probability that a man will alive in 25 years is 3/5, and that of his wife is 2/3. What is the probability that both will be alive? So this probability obviously tells us that this is an independent event, independent probability, because man and wife is not dependent. Man is not dependent on wife's life, and wife is not dependent on his husband's life. But they will live. They will be alive in 25 years. But they are independent. Okay. So after identifying that this probability is an independent event, we all know that we can apply the multiplication rule. This is a probability of independent event. So therefore, if this is a probability of independent event, so I'm going to discuss the details of the probability in my lecture series. But for this time, number one clue here is this is an independent event, and if we have an independent event, we will use the multiplication rule. Okay, so this is an independent event. Multiplication rule will apply. And another clue is when you see and, when you see in the problem and after identifying that this is an independent event, you will notice that they use in the sentence, in the paragraph, or in the sentence and, which means this is a multiplication rule. Okay. Now to express this in equation, this will be a probability of a man that he will live 25 years, and multiplied by the probability of a woman live the same 25 years, but they have given 2/3 and 3/5 as their probability. So let us assume that let probability of man is equal to, will live in 25 years will equal to 3/5 And the probability of his wife is given as 2/3. Okay, they are both alive. Probability that they will be alive in 25 years, both, given the probability. So applying the multiplication rule, because this is an independent event, and we see that they use "and" in the sentence. So we can define that the probability of man and a woman is equal to, applying the multiplication rule, the probability of a man multiplied by the probability of a woman for an independent event is equal to 3/5 multiplied by 2/3. Right? So since this is multiplication, we can easily cancel out number 3. So the answer is 2/5. The probability that man and woman alive in 25 years is 2/5. So this is the answer. Letter B. Alright, so 102 questions. Let's proceed. So this is very easy. The degree of the term negative 4x squared y is what? We are talking here of the degree of the term. When we talk about the degree, this is the exponent of a given variable. In this case, the degree of the term is, since the equation has two variables, the x is the has a second degree and y is first degree. Actually, the question here, it should be what is the highest degree. Let's check. Just 102. No, the highest degree, it should be the highest degree of the given equation. The answer here is, we are considering the highest degree, so the answer is second degree. Letter D. Okay, so 103. Let's proceed with question number 103. If x is an odd number and y is an even integer, odd integer and y is an even integer, which of the following is an even integer? So this is a tricky question, but it has a given. He said if x is an odd integer and y is an even integer, which of the following is an even integer? So how you can identify that which of the following is an even integer? So we will assume a number for x and y. Let's say x, what is an odd integer? Let's say we will assume a value x equals to 1. 1 is an even odd integer, and let's say y is equals to 2. Let's assume. After given the assumption, we can substitute the assumption to a given multiple choice. So for number 1, 2 multiplied by x minus y minus 1. So this is equal to the value of x1 minus 2 minus 1 is equals to, so this is 2 minus 2, 0 is negative 1. So this is negative 1, but the answer, which of the following is an even? Negative 1 is not an even, so letter A is not the answer. What about letter B? Letter B, x squared plus 3y plus 1. So let's substitute 1 squared plus 3 multiplied by 2 plus 1. This is equal to 1 raised to 2 is 1 plus 6. 3 times 2 is 6. 6 plus 1 is 7 plus 1 is 8. So this is even number, but we have to check all the given choices. So for letter C, x squared plus y minus 3. 1 squared plus 2 minus 3 is equals to 1 minus 3 is equals to negative 1 plus 2 is 0. 1 minus 1 plus, this is negative 1, 0. 0 is not even nor odd, so that is not the answer. Letter D, 4x minus 1 minus 3y, 4 multiplied by 1 minus 1 minus 3 multiplied by 2 is equal to, this is 4 minus 1 minus 6. So this is 4 minus 7, negative 3. So therefore, this is not the answer. So the answer is letter B. Letter B is the answer, because we arrive at the even number, in even integer, which is equivalent, which is 8. Right? So 104. Question 104. This is easy for elementary teachers and high school. The greatest common divisor of 91, 39, and 78 is, or how we can get the divisor. A divisor is a number that if you divide to a certain number, it will produce a dividend, or the answer. It's like a factor. Factor is a number that if you multiply two numbers, it will produce a product. Two numbers. This one is divide. So that's why if you divide these two numbers, it will produce a number which is called dividend. So to get the greatest common divisor, we use the ladder method. You can use other method, but in this case I will use the ladder method to get the greatest common divisor of the three numbers given. So by drawing an L shape and then write the given number, so this is 91, 39, and 78. So let us get the common divisors common divisors of the given numbers. So what is the common divisors? If you're going to divide this by 13, 91 divided by 13 is equal to 7. Is it correct? So 21 carry 2, yeah, 7. 21 carry 2, 1 times 7, 7. 91, okay. 39 divided by 13 is 6. Or 3. Sorry, 3. 13 times 3 is 39. And 78 divided by 13 is 6. So 16 times 6, 13 times 6 is 18 carry 1. 6, 7, 8. Is it correct? 13 times 6, 18 carry 1. 1 times 6, 7, 8. Yeah. So 6. So after that, so I think there will be no common factors or common divisors among the three given numbers, 7, 3, and 6. So we'll stop from here. The common divisor is 7. So 7 divided by 1 is 7. 3 divided by 1 is 3. 6 divided by 1 is 3. So the GCF or GCD is equal to 13 times 1 is equals to 13. Letter A. The answer is letter A. Again, you can use other method. If you can use other method to get the divisor and then get the greatest common divisors. 105. This is just a definition of terms. The difference between gross profit and cost of goods sold is equal to what? The difference, gross profit, so this is, the answer is letter D. The net profit. Net profit is just difference of gross profit, difference between gross profit minus cost of goods. So you can also have to take note of the definition. And number 106. So you have to review the different properties of real numbers. In this case, it was given that what property of real numbers which describes 5 plus 3. If you notice 5 plus 3, it's just interchange, arrange the position. So since this is an addition, it doesn't change. You can rearrange 5 plus 6 minus 3 as minus 3 plus 5 plus 6. So what property of real numbers involved in this particular problem? So definitely letter A, reflexive, that is not reflexive. Associative, that is not associative because it's not a multiplication. Distributed, definitely it's not distributed because the given left equation is not being distributed individually. So the answer is letter D. This is a commutative property of addition. Take note, this is an addition. Okay, so 100 should be 107. 107. What is 107? It's not given. What do you call an equality of two ratios? It's very straightforward definition. What do you call equality of two ratios? The answer is letter B. This is a proportion. That's why we have a ratio and proportion. The equality means they are proportional. Okay, the equality of two ratios. The equality of two ratios is called proportion. 108. The number of hours spent for review in algebra, chemistry, and English is in the ratio 4:3:1. So this is a ratio of three numbers. How many hours does each student spend for chemistry in 24 hours? So this is a tricky question. It was given the ratio of three subjects, but the question is only focused on the number of hours spent by each student in chemistry. So to solve this problem, let us assume that let x is equals to number of hours spent by each student in chemistry, spent by each student in reviewing in chemistry. Okay. And then on the given, we express the given is 4:3:1. This is an algebra, this is chemistry, and this is English. This is the ratio. It said how many hours does chemistry in 24 hours. So we will equate this one to 24 hours, the ratio. And we multiply each subject by x, where x is the number of hours spent by each student. So 4x plus 3x, you get the sum of each ratio, plus x, or 1 times x, or simply x, is equals to 24. So this is the equivalent equation for this kind of problem. So to get the number of hours only for chemistry, let us in chemistry in 24 hours. So we will get the sum. This is 8x is equals to 24. So we will able to get the value of x, number of hours spent by each students in chemistry in 24 hours. So divide both sides by 8. X is equals to 3 hours. So if that is 3 hours in 24 hours for chemistry, the ratio for chemistry is 3x for chemistry. This is the equivalent ratio. So therefore, 3x is equals to 3 multiplied by the numbers of hours each student spend is 3. So therefore, the answer is 9 hours. So 9 hours is the number of hours spent by each student in chemistry. So the 9 hours, so the answer is letter D, 9 hours. But we need to answer first 109. Sorry, this should be 109. This is 109. So 109 question is a condition. Given the condition that if m is less than 0 and n is greater than 0. So obviously if m is less than 0, this is a negative number. And n is greater than 0, it's positive. So this is just a analysis. We need to analyze these two conditions. So which of the following is true? Given the condition, we are asked to get which of the following choices are true. Since mn is equals, if mn is equals to 0, this is actually 0. Mn equals to 0. Letter A. For letter A, if n over n is equals to 0, this should be equals to 0. If m is negative, here in the original condition, and n is 0, m is not equals to 0, so this is not possible answer because it does not conform with the given original condition. So another one is m, by inspection, m times n is greater than 0. This is also not true because if m is negative and n is positive on the original condition, this does not be greater than 0. It should be less than 0. So the two choices are definitely incorrect. So we are now, the only two choices left is letter B, which is 1 over m less than 1 over n, and letter D, 1 over m greater than 1 over n. So the same, but the letter D is greater, less than. In 108, this is 109, in this is less than, the other one is greater than, which is correct among these two conditions. So let's try. From the original condition, m is less than 0 and greater than 0, these two can actually be expressed as n greater than m based on the given condition. This is negative, this is positive, so therefore n is greater than m. So in order to get which among the choices, the two choices are correct, so if we're going to divide this by n, let us first divide this by n. So if we're going to divide this by n, so that to arrive by inspection, the choices 1 over n, this will be cancelled. So this is 1 greater than m over n, which is correct because m is negative and n is positive, so therefore 1 is greater than these two. So therefore this is positive. So this is, we get the first condition right, positive. And then if we're going to divide this by m, okay, if we're going to divide this divide by m, this will become 1 over m and greater than m by divide by m multiplied by n. So cancels out. 1 over m is greater than 1 over n. One over m is not greater than because m is negative. So therefore it should be, we change this to 1 over m should be less than 1 over n to make it negative, because we already get the first condition positive and this one should be negative. If we're not going to change this one, because this one does not conform with the condition, because 1 over the negative number is not greater than 1 over n, because 1 over n is higher. It should be 1 over n over 1 over n. So therefore, the answer should be letter B and not letter D, because 1 over m here is greater than 1 over n. This one, it will not, we should change this one because we already get the first condition positive, the other one should be negative. So therefore we have to change this one to negative because m is originally negative. So if this is negative, it should be 1 over m should be less than 1 over n. So we get the two conditions right. So therefore, the answer should be letter B, this one. Okay, so this is letter B questions. Alright, so let's proceed with the last questions, which is 110. Part 10. So 110 is just a definition. What do you call a triangle with all sides equal? So definitely the answer is letter C. So we just go over with my lecture series. I'm going to discuss the different types of a triangle so that you will know the definition of the different triangle. But in these questions, letter C is the answer. Alright, so that's all for this series, part 11. So thank you so much again for watching this video.